Hello and welcome to today's Thought for the Week. I've been doing a lot of reflecting recently about our thoughts for the week and the 4 years that we've been doing them. Originally kind of out of desperation, and it's those times that I was thinking about and all the rainbows that we would see in windows and kids were drawing them and they were everywhere. And we've kind of embraced that in our house still. Out in our front garden we still have some rainbow windmills, and Jemima loves those. And Jemima's, Nora's now getting to enjoy them too. And those rainbows were there just to kind of perk us up a wee bit and to celebrate the NHS and just to bring a bit of hope and a bit of light into the everyday lives of people as they went about as much as they could in those weird times in 2020. But for us, of course, as Christians, the rainbow is a sign of God's promise to Noah. And it's the story of Noah that really kind of got me thinking. But also in work at the minute, we are working through the I am statements of Jesus. We're doing them at our children's programs, and we're going to be looking at them with some of the young people, and we're also looking at them in our friendship group as well. And actually looking at the story of Noah and looking at the I am statements, there are some real parallels that I want to look at today. So the bit in Noah, the story of Noah that I want to look at is found in Genesis chapter 7. God has told Noah to build the boat, and he does what he's been told. And he's told Noah to gather the animals and gather his family and to get onto the ark. And the rain has started. And in verse 16 it says that God shut them in. Or in some versions of the Bible it said God closed the door. And for me, that was just part of the story. It was just a practicality, a thing that needed done. But actually when I reflected upon it and read some other things around it, it is a great parallel for not just the kind of general gospel story, but some very specific things that Jesus said about himself. You see, the people in Noah's time had a choice. Did they trust God and did they believe what Noah was doing was right, and did they want to be with him and join him in the safety and the rescue of the ark? Or did they want to be on the outside? Now, I don't know, the Bible doesn't tell us, but I suspect that as the rains started to fall, some people maybe started to think that Noah maybe wasn't as daft as they had once thought, and I don't know, maybe even ran to the ark to try and get on. But by that time, God had shut the door. The people who had made the right choice to follow God were in the safety and the security of the ark. The people who had chosen not to follow God, well, they ultimately met their destruction, and that was because they just didn't trust in God at all. And in John chapter 10, Jesus calls himself the gate. And he says that he is the only way into heaven. He is the shepherd who brings the flock into the field, but he also says he is the gate by which they enter. And Jesus has been clear about this in so many other places and in many other ways. And he says that he is the way, the truth and the life. The only way to the Father is through him. He becomes that gate, the entrance. And we have this true picture of Jesus as being this open gate and welcoming people in and bringing the right people in and calling his sheep. But just like the story of Noah, at some point that gate will be shut. At some point Jesus will return, or at some point we will reach the end of our earthly life. And at that point, that's when the gate is shut. That's when it's too late to change your mind. That's when it's too late to run after the ark and ask to be led on. Right now is when we need to make that choice. Are we going to be like the people in Noah's day who look at Christians and say, they're mad. They don't know what they're talking about. This is a load of nonsense. Or are we going to be like Noah and his family? Are we going to be faithful to what God calls us to? Are we going to see the safety and security of the gate that leads to everlasting life and follow God? As crazy as it might look to people in this day and age, but actually we trust and we know that as God calls us to it, we can trust in him. So before the gate closes, are we going to go to the field? Are we going to go to God and the safety and security of him? Because I know I don't want to be left on the outside, either of the ark or of the field. And I pray that today you'll think about that and you'll reflect upon that. If you're already inside the field in the safety and security, then rejoice in what that means. But also reflect on what it means for those who are outside. And if you are outside, we'd love to talk to you more about that, and love to point you to God and to that safety and security. And so I pray today that you'll be blessed by this thought, but more importantly that you'll reflect on whether you want to be on the outside of the door or on the outside of the gate, or whether you want to be on the inside. God bless.